everybody. Hope King and Kirk Brown back here at the Ron Clark Academy Amazing Shake. We told you last time that we wanted to take you around and preview some of the different stations so you could get an inside perspective and look at exactly what's happening here at the Amazing Shake. Before I do that, we have to wish our very own Kirk Brown a happy birthday.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
What is it, 21 years young?
21 years young plus 12.
How are you going to celebrate your birthday?
With the Amazing Shake.
We planned the busiest day of the year on your birthday to celebrate you, Kirk.
Right.
Perfect.
Shout out to Jared Lemons. He was on my Instagram and he said, yeah, way to celebrate by having the Amazing Shake. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I'm celebrating with the Amazing Shake.
Happy birthday. I'll bake you cookies.
Wait, can you bake?
I'll buy you cookies.
Yeah,
All right,
you.
So let's go ahead and start looking at some of these stations, see how the students are doing. So that way, especially if you're going to be bringing your students to the National Amazing Shake, you can kind of see some of the different things that might give you ideas for how you want to prepare your own students.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to walk right over here to the commercial station. As we told you, now some of the students had to prepare a commercial, and here they are at the Wave Runner. And so if you take a look at them right in here, they're having to ride a surfboard while giving their commercial. So how fun is that? That's an 8th grader, Naja Reed, up there right now. This is the Island Travel. And look at her, she's trying to keep her balance. How's she doing, Hope?
She's doing an excellent job. I've been walking around checking into some of the different stations while we got ready to prepare for this next segment, and I'm telling you right now, the kids have been doing an amazing job. Deja Little, I watched her on this specific station. She killed it, nailed every line, had hand motions, had the eye contact, had the poise. She was incredible.
She was, yeah. So it's a fun station. We've got some of our judges right here. We've got Mr. Lloyd and also Miss Debbie Koenig, who's the executive director of NAIOP Georgia. Thank you so much for being a volunteer and judging. Thank you so much, Lloyd. All right, so we're gonna walk. We're gonna walk over here to the next station, and hope nobody trips here.
Yeah, lots happening.
So lots happening here. This is one of our favorite stations. This is the ESPN station. So the students have to recite the last play. We told you earlier, the last play of the Rose Bowl game. And so our students here, you can take a look. Naja is up here again. I guess we're going to go to another station so we can see other students, but Naja, as you see here, is at the desk. And we've got our judge here, Mr. Will Watkins from Gardner. He's judging her, but look at her. She's looking in the camera, which a lot of students haven't been doing today, but she's looking in the camera, also looking at the TV and giving her play-by-play, and it looks like she nailed it on this one. So we'll see how many points she gets for this round.
Now, this is one of the stations that we actually prepared the kids with the information prior to the Amazing Shake because, like myself, I'm not a big football fan, and so we didn't want that to work against them, but we did give them the information prior to so that way they could prepare and show that even though this might not be their strength and something that they're interested in, they can still nail the interview segment of this.
Yes, and so as you hear, it's a lot happening here in this gymnasium. So if you can hear us, definitely let us know in the comments. If you have some questions, we'll try to field some of those. We looked earlier, and some of you were asking, how do we prepare for this? Is this something that the students have to do in the class? How do we respond to that, Hope?
Yeah, so it's something that we mentioned in the first broadcast too, but this is the things that the students are doing today as far as those base skills, those foundational skills. As you know, RCA, we found ourselves on the Essential 55 written by Ron Clark. So those are our primary rules. Those, it sounds like somebody just fell back here. Sorry, I can't overlook that. So obviously a crisis happening in our commercial station, but it's something that we practice every single day in the classroom. So while we're not having a commercial on a surfboard or an ESPN commercial, the poise, the etiquette, the confidence, you're going to be able to move past this, Kirk?
Damien is over here trying to hold his balance, and he's falling off of the surfboard. It's hilarious.
So all of those components are things that we do on the daily. This is just putting them in different scenarios that they might experience one day in their lives that they have to know how to overcome. So it's all about thinking on your feet.
Thinking on your feet, absolutely. So right now we've got a quick interview with one of our students, Ryan Golston. She's a 7th grader here at the Academy. She's already gone through the entire competition, and so now she's waiting to see where she'll land, if she's going to move on to round 2 or not. Ryan, get in here.
Okay.
How are you feeling, Ryan? This is your 3rd time doing the Amazing Shake. You got out the building last year. How are you feeling? You got out the building last year, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how are you feeling about this year?
So I'm feeling pretty good. I had a lot of fun going through these stations. For example, the commercial station, that was probably one of my favorite stations. I'd never been surfing before, so I kind of got a little experience with that one. And I feel like this year overall was just including more like real life situations. For example, like the Oscars. Like, what if one day I win the Oscars? I can say, well, in my middle school, I practiced this one time before. And just a New Year's toast, I felt that was really fun, just interacting with people. Overall, I just felt like this one was more fun and interactive. So I had a lot of fun going through it.
Yeah, so Ryan, you even smell delightful. So
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we talked to them about your presentation and that you can never take back a first impression, and so the way that you look and the way that you carry yourself, that's equally as important. What was the most challenging station here for you today? What did you struggle with the most?
You know what? I would definitely have to say that the cooking with me was pretty hard for me because, you know, that's something I do struggle with, that sometimes talking and then talking and reading and then talking and facing the camera at the same time. So the directions, I wasn't expecting that it was just placing something as simple as placing something in a bowl. And so I was reading and I was grabbing for a knife trying to cut it. So it was really hard trying to like play off my little mistakes that I made. So it was fun overall though.
Now, this is your third experience with the Amazing Shake, so are you going for the championship this time around?
Definitely, you know, it should always be your goal to win. And I'm definitely trying to get out of the state this year. And last year and the previous year, I'm trying to take the downfalls that made me get out of the round just to use that as my advantage and use that in other stations if I happen to get out of the building. But definitely trying to win should always be my goal. That is my goal. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the day.
So I want to ask you one more question. So a lot of the teachers are wondering how we prepare our students for the Amazing Shake. How does being an RCA student every single day prepare you for this experience?
So RCA is just a fun, energetic place, and I feel like in the real world, the whole Amazing Shake is the real world. Like going to a job interview, that is the Amazing Shake. And I feel like being here at RCA, and for example, the teacher visitations that we have every day, that's just something that you have to know how to do, because if you don't know how to interact, you're not going to get anywhere in the world. So RCA, just being an interactive school overall, really helps me in the competition. And to prepare your students, I would just say just practicing something as simple as interviewing them, like asking, like, what's your favorite hobby? And just talking. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's fun overall. So
Perfect. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for your time with us today. We're going to see how you fare out. If you're going to make it outside the building, we're going to be rooting you on, and hopefully you can make it out of the state like you mentioned, and maybe even take home the grand prize as the Amazing Shake champion. All right, so we'll see you in just a little bit, and hopefully your name is called in just a few. All right.
Ryan.
thank you.
Good job.
All right, so we're going to walk over here to the ESPN station. We're going to take a look at Adrian Cicheran right now. He's at the ESPN station. Look how he is handling it. He's looking right at the camera. He's not really looking at the TV too much, so he's got these lines down pretty well, I would say. And so he's got a firm handshake to round it out. He's about to move on to the next station. So we'll see how Adrian does. And now Eva is headed up to this station to do it herself. But we're going to walk over here to the New Year's Eve station, and a lot of action is happening over here. But before we do that, we've got our co-founder, Miss Kimberly Bearden, looking very nice here in blue.
Thank you so much.
Kim, a lot is going into this day. Why is this one of your favorite days of the year?
Oh, this is one of my favorite days because it's all the things we teach our kids in class. All of those skills about how do you speak with confidence, how do you talk about academic subjects, as well as how you pull it all together and how it applies to the real world. All of those things are brought to life today. So it's been a tremendous day. It's so much fun watching these kids perform.
A lot of fun. We've got a chance to walk around to some of the stations and check them out prior to this broadcast, and we have been dying laughing at some of these. What's one of your favorites out here, Kim?
So there are a few, but there's a place over here. Now, we are teaching them business skills, but we do have a middle school here, so we're trying to do those things to make it a little fun, too. So there's Booger Burger over there, and so there are some angry customers, and one of our alumni, Alina, is playing the worker who has not treated the customers well, and so the student has to come up and be the manager. And Alina is so in character. She's rolling her eyes, she's sighing, and she's just like, cleaning her glasses, she's being rude. And so to see the students try to calm down this belligerent employee has been hysterical. She's really been in character well.
That is awesome. We've just been having a fun time. The Stay Fresh station, that is hilarious. One of our board members.
Yeah, one of our board, he's been a really good sport. He's in character quite well as well. So yeah, it's been exciting, and I've been going around taking notes because one of the things that we do with our students is we debrief after this about the things that they've done well. And it's really interesting, even some of the stations, I don't know if you all mentioned, they had a little bit of knowledge about.
Yes.
Because we said in the real world there's those impromptu moments, but sometimes there's the opportunity to prepare for presentations and things. And so, for example, there's a play-by-play station here where they're having to show when Georgia Bulldogs won the Rose Bowl. And so the kids knew the clip that they'd be narrating, But I've been watching, and some students have the wherewithal to go up and to be looking not only at the screen, but also looking at the audience and engaging the audience. Some students, they had a great play-by-play, but they just stared at the screen and they did not engage.
Right.
Same thing right back here. There's a station where the students are reading from cue cards. Well, some of them are looking down at the cue cards the whole time, and what we want to make sure that they understand is that eye contact is important. So it's a difficult skill to acquire, but how do you look at the cue cards and look into the camera and be engaging all at once? So a lot of those things that they've never been exposed to, and it's great to see how they can think on their feet.
That is awesome, Kim. A lot for them to think about on the spot. Some of it has been preparation, but it's been interesting just to watch how some of these kids just rise to the occasion, even at the Oscar speech over there. So I'd say it's been pretty cool to watch for sure.
And it's been great to see how their individual personalities. Now, these judges will have 120 kids come in and basically say the same thing. But it's interesting, one of the things we always tell the students is that you want to be real, you want to be yourself. We want students to see your personality, we want the judges to see your personality. And so to see how they've done that and how they've had their own take on it, rather than being robotic at these stations, that's been a real takeaway for them as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Kim. I know you're walking around making sure that the building is right. Thank you so much. Well, we'll see you just a little bit later. All right, so we're going to walk over here to the New Year's Eve station so you guys can check that out to see what's happening here. The kids have had to practice a New Year's Eve toast, right? So how are they going to handle it? Right before they walk in, someone says, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year. And so that's a lot of fun just to watch how these kids do it. So we have just a little bit of a backup right now. And so we're going to check it in just a second, but it looks like Adrian has already gone through and he's about to transition now. And so now Eva is about to walk in here and handle her very own New Year's Eve. So let's check it out as they get in here and handle this. Eva's getting her prep right before she walks in. You hear the Auld Lang Syne. The ball is dropping. Happy New Year. That's pretty cool. So let's get a little closer.
Next year, so we're trying new things, achieving new goals, and creating stronger bonds with the people that you love, and especially health and happiness. Cheers!
That's awesome.
Eva doing a great job there. A lot of charisma from Eva, just showing her. I love what Ms. Bearden just said about, even though a lot of the challenges are very similar and the judges hear the same thing, what really makes students stand out is how they use their personality, how they use their own individual sparkle. And Eva definitely has that sparkle about herself. So love seeing her personality shine through in that, just the joy that she has for life in general, and allowing, this competition can be overwhelming.
Yes.
And not allowing that to get the best of her, but just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go in there and just be myself. I'm just gonna show joy and enthusiasm like I always do, and I'm gonna knock it out of the park. And she did that.
She knocked it out of the park. I love how our judges here and our volunteers, they've got the confetti, they got the music, they got the ball drop, and it's just a good time here. And the students get in there, they have a good time with it. And as Kim mentioned, Ms. Bearden mentioned, use your charisma, use your personality, and then let that shine through, and the judges are going to see that and give you some of those points, hopefully. And hopefully you can make it out the building.
Absolutely, and this is a big elaborate setup. Like this, we have overdone it almost. And a lot of people might say that's elaborate, but we teach our kids, if you're going to go for something, go all in, 100%. And so there's no way that we can set up something and go in 50% and expect them to go in 100% when they're giving it back to the school or doing a project. Right. So this is really our example to them of how you do something, you do it well, you go into it 110% and give it your best effort. So we want it to be elaborate to show kids what that actually looks like.
Absolutely, and so now we've got another station we want to show you. This one's a little bit more traditional. Right behind us, you'll see it's a boardroom setup right now. And so Spencer, an 8th grader, he's at the top of the boardroom, and the judges are asking him tough questions. Sometimes in life, you'll have an opportunity to have group interviews, and how do you engage everyone at the table? How do you not get nervous? How do you maintain your composure? And so you see students have to walk up and address this intimidating group of people, answer questions, and really be themselves. So we've got a 6th grader right now, Alana Walker, at the desk getting prepped, and she's gonna get in there and kill it, I'm sure, because Alana has that personality and that charisma.
Definitely, as well as, I think this is definitely a station, and how do you respectfully share your opinion about something, your viewpoints. We teach our kids that it's okay to disagree with the world, or disagree with other people, or disagree with your classmates, but how do you respectfully share your opinions and your viewpoints to hopefully bring them onto your side, or let them understand where you're coming from in the matter.
Right, because at this station, they're asking them, they say, so tell me, how would the world be different if Hillary Clinton were president? And so how do you express these your opinions or your viewpoints about politics in a way that doesn't offend or in a way that comes across as neutral. I don't know. We'll have to see how the kids handle it.
And a lot of times I feel like, in schools, we kind of steer clear of that because we could step on a lot of toes or make some kids feel uncomfortable. But if we don't start teaching kids at a young age, number one, how to have an opinion on something, and then number two, how to voice that opinion, what is going to happen as they transition into adulthood? They're never going to know how to share that, which is what I think causes a lot of disputes and disagreements in our world today.
Right. So a lot of things happening, from sports to entertainment to
Very
politics.
well-rounded.
It's a very well-rounded competition, and so we don't steer away from anything, which is really, really cool about this. All right, so I think we're going to try to walk this way. I'm looking at our producer to see if we can make it over there.
We might need to go back through
around
and
this way.
around.
Check out the Oscar station. And
Yeah,
then we can go
let's
to
definitely
the
check
burger.
out the Oscar station. So as we mentioned at the Oscar station, Kirk's gonna make sure. Sorry, y'all, we've got cords kind of going everywhere. The Oscar station, they walk on a stage. They don't know what the station is prior to, and they say, and the Oscar goes to, and they name the student's name, and then the student must get up there and make an acceptance speech. So we're gonna try to tune in on this station, which is right back here. Dr. Jones is bringing in our students and introducing them as they take their place on stage. So let's see. Our next award goes to Noah, a 5th grader here at RCA. He's obviously very shocked that he won the award. Let's see if we can kind of listen into Noah's speech. Talking about how he was in his basement practicing to be an actor, and now all of a sudden here he is with an Oscar
Here he is with an
award.
Oscar, right, as a 5th grader. That's awesome. So I love how they come up with these stories.
All right, let's move back to one of my favorite stations. Now I think that they're going to be transitioning, but this is actually the station that Ms. Bearden was speaking of earlier,
Yes.
where we have an employee who has not obviously treated the customers with respect,
Yes.
and the customer is quite angry.
It's quite
with
angry.
the manager. So we're going to see how Makai handles this situation.
So this is the 7th grader, Makai Allen. He's up here trying to figure out how to calm down one of his colleagues with an angry customer, and how does he handle it. So we're going to tune in here to see. And as we mentioned, Alina here is an RCA alumni, and she is in character. Look at her face. This is hilarious. So how is Makai going to handle this? So he's having a lot of fun with this, as you can see. He's kind of stumbled here just a little bit. And as you can see, RCA kids aren't perfect. They do not have all the answers. And as you can see, he's stumbled here. He's not really sure how to handle this particular station. You have an angry colleague. You've got
Nobody
an angry
ever taught him
customer.
the customer's always right.
Right. He said, I'm going to make a deal with you.
What kind of deal?
Wait, what's happening here? So the kids have to get in here and figure out how to do it. Now, Noah Amos is about to go up, and then we're going to check back in once Keenan gets in there, because I want to see how Keenan handles that.
As well. Keenan definitely has a history of being a very, very strong competitor in the Amazing Shake. So this has been a station that stumped a lot of students. I mean, what child honestly thinks about, what would I do with an angry customer? So I'm interested to see how Keenan uses his charisma that we know that he definitely has, and he's always very calm in the way that he executes situations. So I'm interested to see how he does that today.
Yeah. Now, Station 17, right over here, we told you guys that we had people come in and get the students prepared. And one of the stations is an etiquette station. You got to know how to set a formal table. And right now, we've got Jericho Washington, a 7th grader, right here with Debbie Lassiter from Perfectly Polished out of Athens, Georgia. She's coming here and training the kids. And now she's testing them to see, can they remember? Where are the forks placed? Where are the napkins placed? Where's the cup place and all of that? And so Jericho has had to set the table and figure out, how do I handle that? And so it's not hard. It's not easy at all to figure that out, Hope.
Definitely not easy. All right, let's head back over here to the Booger Burger station, where we're going to see how Keenan is going to handle this situation with his angry customer and his employee. So Keenan definitely just, what we just stated, he said, our policy here in our restaurant is that the customer is always right. And so he's trying to take the side of the customer.
Absolutely.
But there's definitely a fine balance there. You don't no employee would ever want to work for you if they know that you're not going to have their back. So how do you have that balance and show support to your employee and show support to the customer as well,
right.
and fix the situation?
Right, because you don't have employees without customers, and so how do you make sure that you're catering to both their needs and resolving and diffusing a really intense situation quickly where everyone feels validated, right?
That is so difficult because they both want you to be with them 100%.
Yeah.
Nobody's willing to share 50-50%. They want you to be with them or against them, and so that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
Keena did an excellent job handling it, and you could tell, like, you can see in their minds they're trying to figure out what they should do. But it's definitely one that's causing some of them some trouble today.
Yes, and so as we told, wow. Let's look over here at the Oscar station.
All
Someone
right,
is
Jordan
singing
Barber
at their Oscar speech. Wow.
Well, we do teach our kids to go for it.
Go for it.
And be unique.
We have not seen that all morning. We had to stop in my tracks to see what was going on. Jordan Barber, a 7th grader, accepting her Oscar, and she started out in song, and now she's.
And that's exactly what you want. We teach our kids, what are you going to do to stand out?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to get people to recognize you and notice you? And so she said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And that's how we didn't even know what to do.
I was like, what's happening right now?
She just busted out into song, and I mean, even caught our attention. So if she caught our attention, I know she caught the judges' attention. I think that Jordan Barber is going to be a very strong competitor in the Amazing Shake.
She made it out of the building last year. She made it to round 2. I think she even made it to round 3. So I'm pretty confident Jordan will make it out of the building again this year. So we'll see in just a few. Now, going back to the burger station, I was saying something before we got sidetracked by Jordan's song, but we told the kids when you're in an intense situation with a customer, you want to diffuse a situation, but you also want to validate them. So you want to say, I hear you, I understand why you're upset. And so Keenan definitely did that when he was having his situation here at station 20 something here in the Amazing Shake. So
the Booger Burger.
The Booger Burger. Now, another station right here, going back over here beside the etiquette station, is a grooming station. We told our kids that you gotta make sure, and Ron mentioned in the last broadcast, that your fingers, your nails are clean. 18. That your nails are clean, and so she's actually interacting with them, but then also she's checking to see if their nails are clean, and so that's it's an important station. A lot of our kids went out and got manicures to make sure that they had perfectly.
And pedicures, apparently.
And pedicures, because we were going to see her feet.
But yes, even when Ryan came up to interview, I noticed immediately that she smelled nice. You could tell that she was clean, and she was, I mean, the way that you appear to take care of yourself, that says a lot to future employers and when they're conducting your interview. So that speaks a lot. So that's a really important station.
Absolutely. So some of the stations that you guys can't see, in station 10 over there, it's they walk in there and they're the manager of a movie theater, right? And so they walk into they're the manager of a movie theater, and the bulb has gone out, and all the
talk about angry
all
customers.
The patrons in there are angry. They don't know what's happening, and they're trying to diffuse the situation. And so that's in our theater here at RCA, and the kids have to walk in there and figure out, okay, how do I handle this and handle it fast? So that's a lot of fun. And then inside the station, I think they even throw popcorn at them in there. It's crazy.
Similar to last year when they walked into a boardroom where a lot of their employees had lost their jobs.
Yes.
So definitely real world application situations. We really believe that our kids are going to be the future leaders of this country.
Yes.
And so if they're going to be the future leaders, we've got to treat them like leaders.
Yes.
And being a leader is not always easy. Being a leader is not always comfortable. And so what this competition is all about is about putting them in the most uncomfortable situations possible and seeing what they do with that.
Yeah.
Seeing how they handle that. Like you mentioned, they're definitely not going to have all the answers. Shoot,
Yeah.
you and I wouldn't even have all the answers if
Yeah.
we walk through this. But how you think on your feet, and again, how you maintain your own morals, your own beliefs, your own standards, while you also try to keep the customers happy or your employees happy, that's a lot to ask.
Yeah, and we won't mention any names, but actually one kid or two kids actually broke down this morning during the competition, and there were real tears as the student was walking through, because it can be a lot, especially for a new student here at RCA. You have no idea what to expect, and you're trying to figure this thing out, and there were some tears this morning, but hopefully they brought it together.
Yeah, and a lot of people might wonder, well, what happens if they do cry? Do you just take them out of the competition and just allow them to stop? We never allow students to stop. They must continue the competition, because again, in life, in those moments of when you're uncomfortable, you've got to learn how to rise above. You've got to learn how to continue.
Yes, you absolutely have to continue to move on, and that is what's an important lesson here in the Amazing Shake. Those lessons that you take with you. How do you rise? It's not what happens to you when you fall down, right? It's how you get back up. What's that story? How do you handle adversity? And that's really the moral of the story here.
And we have
Amazing Shape.
lots of amazing parents here. Now, they're not judging the competition,
They're not
but
judging.
they're here transporting students from station to station. And so one thing that we're big about is even if our students kind of feel defeated, we always build them back up. Now, we're not going to take the easy road out and let them think that they can quit, but we have parents here that are encouraging them, supporting them, so that's also an important role.
Perfect. So right over here, we showed you a little bit of this station earlier, but it's the Cooking with Me station, and now we have an 8th grader, Amari Whitehead, walking up, and she's gonna have to make her own recipe. She has to make her. Thank you, Mr. Walker. We appreciate you. She's got to make her own recipe right now, so she's getting prepped. She's got her ingredients on the table. Let's listen in and see how Amari handles this.
First step is to pick up a bell pepper and put it in the bowl. The second step is to pick up a cucumber and also put it in the bowl. The last step is a bell pepper and a cucumber in a bowl. That was Cooking with Me with Amari. Thanks for tuning in.
So the recipe then is even a little bit awkward, and so there's not very many steps. So what do the students do? Do they take it and kind of, again, make it their own, add their little sparkle to it, or do they kind of get stumped on the fact that, oh, it's a very simple step?
Right. How do you handle that? How do you even add flair to the station, right? Because there are very
Right.
simple steps here, but how do you add your own energy in there? Do you add some extra ingredients? Do you talk a little bit about why a bell pepper is being used here? How do the kids use that and really turn it into their own moment? So I love watching that station. It's pretty cool. We're gonna walk right over here to the Tonight Show at the Amazing Shake, which is our own version of the Tonight Show. So we're not gonna tell Jimmy Fallon about this. But we got Mr. Cromwell Bond, who sits on our board. He heads up our development committee, and he's interviewing quite a few students here. We've got Keaton, who's an 8th grader, Anieto, who's another 8th grader, and then Joy, who's a 5th grader. And so we're gonna see right now, Anieto is taking control of the situation. Joy is trying to jump in there right now. And you can see she's really engaged. She's using her hands.
I love the confidence of Joy as a 5th grader, especially when she's up against 2 8th graders. Now, again, does that look like an unfair situation? Two 8th graders against a 5th grader in this group interview, but absolutely not.
Right.
Another lesson that we teach our kids all the time is life's not always fair. It's not always equal. Equal doesn't always equal fair. And so I love that Joy came in with so much confidence and said, you know what, he
gonna
looks
jump
like
in
he's
there.
taking control, but
Yeah.
I'm about to take control and show you what I'm about. I love that.
I love that. She jumped right in there and had her conversation. She's still on the couch right now. I guess some of her time is still not up, but she's got an opportunity to really gain some more points here. And Anieto is really still trying to take control of the situation. He wants to get as many points as possible. To get out of round 1 and to make it to round 2, you've got to have a lot of points. And so Anieto's here talking. Joy's trying to jump back in there. We're going to see how Soleil does. She's a 6th grader here, class of 2020. She's kind of listening in right now. But I want Soleil to jump in there and really take control of the situation.
Finding the balance of how do I jump in so I don't seem arrogant, like I deserve to be heard over
Right.
these other 2 students, but also how do I make sure that I'm heard as well? So
Yeah, it's definitely great to watch. So we're going to show you a little bit about we told you earlier that not only are we a school here, but we're also an educator training facility. And so right before we go to break, and we're going to come back a little bit later, right before we go to break, we want to show you a little bit about the educator training program here at the Academy. And so not only are we a school, but we also train educators. And so we want you guys to check out just a little bit about what the educator training program is. If you are an educator, you can definitely come and visit us here at the Ron Clark Academy. But check out what the Ron Clark Academy is, and we'll see you guys back in just a few.